Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. Today, na Country Sunday, Monday the 8th day for this month of May 2023. My name na Capo Daniel, Mr. No Connie, una own countryman, Ambazonian FBI. Una welcome to another episode of our daily podcast, a program where it bring una the truth. It bring una meaningful information, fact-based analysis for help we as we worker for this journey to our freedom, to the independence of Ambazonia. Fellow people of Ambazonia, today we get more confirmation about the identity of the Ambazonian youths them, where them be killed them by La Republic to Cameroon terrorist forces them for inside Muyuka. One of them, we named Iwane, it be na university student we come up for come visit the family for inside Muyuka they then kill it for inside house, carry their body through and for road. So we then get two confirmed cases of university students amongst the 14 youths who were killed. One of them who were targeted in a separate raid at his safe house was Captain Smallpikin, the overall commander of the ADF in Muyuka. He was a brave Ambazonian hero, well articulated, and somebody that I call my own son. He is forever will be remembered for the wonderful work he has done to educate our soldiers and our community about the reason why we fight for our country and the reason why we must keep fighting. Captain Smallpikin was doing a wonderful job to help me to be to have influence over the other forces in the Atlantic state, so that it will help to bring stability, it will help to bring discipline, and also a proper ideology for self-defense with all the other forces. And we have been discussing and engaging in that endeavor with Captain Smallpikin, and we will continue to do so even after he has fallen. May he rest in power. In other happenings in Bamenda, the capital of our resistance, Ambazonian fighters reportedly, according to information that are coming from Ground Zero, Ambazonian fighters stormed a bar and a journalist was killed. The journalist is Anyende Nso. He's somebody who is a very strong voice in Bamenda. He runs a radio program in Dream FM radio, and he always report about sport, and he has an online platform as well. He's somebody I've engaged with at some point, and he's a very proper gentleman. This type of attack that kills a journalist is counterproductive. I have not been able to confirm the identity or the affiliation of the groups of the soldiers who carry out those attacks, or if indeed the attack was carried out by Ambazonian fighters. I have not confirmed that independently, but from the report from eyewitnesses who were around the bar, they report that it was carried out by Ambazonian forces. I will get details of this and I will report to you people and our country. Killing of journalists is unacceptable, and it's unclear the reasons why he was shot. We have to find out exactly what happened. But in any case, we have to instruct our people that killing of or targeting journalists is unacceptable. And in this case, we are not sure whether he was killed because he was a journalist or he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But a proper investigation will be conducted. I've seen our network of investigators to properly investigate and also reach out to our forces in Bamenda to get clarity. But due to time lapse, the informations are still unconfirmed. In other related issues, Ambazonians have finally had two, now not just one, but two international researchers who have traveled both to Ambazonia and La Republic to make a report, what we can classify as a scientific report of account of our liberation struggle and update as seen as facts. And because such researchers, their works are being considered as facts by the international community. And this has helped to shed light to the issues that I have been raising since a while ago about the Canada pre-talks. And one of our strong comrades, I think is called Ndefru. Pa Ndefru is somebody I respect so much. He's a no-nonsense Ambazonian nationalist. And he also had this reaction in one of our chat groups, which I would want to share with you.
House, good morning. Hello, Oma with the house. Yeah, did you see? I don't listen to your podcast this morning. I hear you say me, Oma, listen to the reason why we make you actually resign from the AGOPC. Yeah, did you see? When I listen to it, this woman they try for where the woman put them. I don't see why the AGOPC come inside, whether they do so or they do so. This woman say, or maybe they say, na me I don't understand now. Well, maybe if you really break and find more understand. This woman say, then call a meeting with Cameroon. So they get a meeting with Cameroon, with the Cameroon army and the Cameroon.
So apart from that, you also have another Ambazonian, who is also a member of the AGOPC, who sent me a very long write-up. His name is Muyuka. That is the nickname he uses. And in that write-up, he also says that now that there have been a researcher who have put out a statement about what happened, there should be no more mix-up between Capo Daniel and Ambazonian further in this matter. So we now, Capo Daniel should not attack or destroy Dr. Cho Ayaba, because Dr. Cho Ayaba is the godfather of self-defense in Ambazonia. And this is the issue I really want Ambazonia to learn and to pick up, because if we don't learn this and we don't pick up, I think yesterday Atam Milan made similar statement that we Ambazonia, we have created our own war of our own delusion about what the war is, and we keep on holding on to that. And it's very dangerous if we are in a position where we cannot think rationally. We hear things in the way we want to hear them. I'll give a short example without too much digression. When Diongote, the colonial lapdog of Pobia, came to Bamenda, he misspoke and he said that Ambazonians should resist. And in our own propaganda, we have to use that material to shame him and to destroy whatever campaign he was doing. So we tell our people that Diongote himself has said that Ambazonia should resist. For some Ambazonia, they will take that statement very seriously and say Diongote support our independence. That he was just doing that, it's just a slip of the tongue, that it actually is what comes from his heart. No, Ambazonia, we should stop taking our own propaganda for reality. Just because Diongote made a slip of the tongue does not mean that slip of the tongue is actually what is in his heart. As we used to talk when we grew up, say, first thing we come up with my mom not true. No, people can make mistake in the first thing that they say. A slip of tongue is not what comes out from that person's heart or his intention. Diongote do not support independence. He is a traitor. He's working for La République. And everybody who is working for La République, who is a CPDM person, is a traitor and cannot support Ambazonia. We should know that. If we do not know this type of way of thinking, we will always take our enemies as friends. There is a wise saying that my father always tell me when I was growing up, that a person who is not safe is a person who does not know his enemy. If you don't know your enemy, your life is in danger. You may never know. A person who knows his enemy is safe, because you know where to take precaution and where not to take precaution. So Ambazonians listen to things with their own preconceptions, and they listen to things according to what they want to hear. It's like people who always read the Bible and interpret what they want in the Bible, what they want the Bible to say. So I will play this audio again for all our people, because this probably will be the misunderstanding with many people, to hear exactly what the researcher said about this audio. And there are two separate things that you hear. And this is an audio excerpt from what the researcher said of what happened during the pre-talks, which is very important to our people, because as I explained last time, it was a real negotiation of two people representing the two territory and those who were involved in the fighting. So listen to what he said.
But we did learn that public rollout may have been problematic from the standpoint of the Cameroon government. I want to acknowledge that, I'm not blaming this on the Canadians or on any one group. It was apparently a negotiated procedure for rolling it out publicly. But nevertheless, there were many in government who actually were not officially informed of this process because it was.
So listen very carefully. I know say what people did one listen, they already get their idea or the one anything where they hear them make it fit their preconception, which is really what we call the zamzamiology, which we must cure ourselves of. Otherwise, we are in deep shit. So what the woman said is clear. I'll play I'm sofri, and I will make a mig una hear. In case una de hear, I'm going to talk about pigeon also una hear.
The plug. But we did learn that public rollout may have been problematic from the standpoint of the Cameroon government.
So the woman, it talks say, why Cameroon pull out the plug? That is the statement he made before this statement. He said, why did Cameroon pull out the plug? That means why Cameroon withdraw from their commitment where they be signed for Canada. And then it talks say, they be down here say, might be there was a rule out problem. That means the way they present the thing, it be get problem for insight. When I listen again, so that me gonna hear fine, me not be so that they don't hear, now wait way me I want me gonna hear too. When I listen.
Pulling the plug. But we did learn that public rollout may have been problematic from the standpoint of the Cameroon government. I want to acknowledge that, I mean, I'm not blaming this on the Canadians or on any one group. It was apparently
So, wait to way it talk, na say wait, say they rule out, how they rule out come out, it be problematic for Cameroon. Cameroon, it no be one time. And then he go for talk, say, he no one for blame any one group or the Canadian, because that is what the blame is. There is an apportion blame. Who made this particular thing to stop? There has been that discussion, and the last Canadian trip to Cameroon, those discussions were finalized. And listen to me and hear me very well, because if we don't understand something collectively, our public space is the only place where we guarantee and protect the integrity of this struggle. So public knowledge about what happened is very critical. Listen very carefully. What this woman say and what it mean. It talks say there was a problem about the rule out. It talks say no one blame any person. The reason why it talks say no one apportion blame, you feel analyze them later on, because you know go want to blame one group or one group amongst the various groups then, because now plenty group they be there with and join as one team. So now they see Ambazonian like a team. And also if you also blame the Canadians, because now the Canadians they will go make that announcement in the wrong way where La Republic it no be one time. Why did the Canadians make that wrong error to go and make that announcement? I'm telling you like a weakness and somebody who was there for you. The reason was because Ambazonian side put pressure on the Canadians because of the wrong approach we take that contradicts agreed and negotiated procedure that we arrange in Canada. As a neutral person, a facilitator is prone to listen to both sides. That means the Canadians does not take decision on their own when it comes to a process where they are just a facilitator or a mediator. They listen to both sides and are prone to be influenced by both sides. The Canadians had made it clear to our Ambazonian team that Cameroon will not accept this thing if it is ruled out in a certain way. I had that meeting representing Ambazonian team. Me, of the ADF and Divine of Sokadev, were the two people who were in that room with the La Republique delegates when we were talking with the committee, talking about the committee on how things will be ruled out. The Cameroon delegation made it clear, and the Canadians made it clear that this is the position of the principal of the Cameroon state. One, that it is important that when this thing is rolled out, it will have a message that will corner the people or the faction in Cameroon who are against peace. They made that one very, very clear. And how they wanted it to roll out, they wanted it to come out first with a settled decision on the implementation of the ceasefire and the release of prisoners. So if you come out with a ceasefire agreement, if that is what comes out there, that this issue of the ceasefire have been settled and it has the authority of Pobia, then that peace process can go ahead. They made it clear. They told us what will happen if that thing does not happen. It was not something that we did not know. It was something that I told our leaders repeatedly. And they all knew what they were going into. But they choose to take a different position. Probably, maybe the reason, I cannot interpret the reason of why they made that wrong decision. But up to now, as I speak to you, they have not even had a chance to accept their wrong or even to learn from what they did. Blame have been apportioned on the Ambazonian side, and Dr. Cho in particular, who is seen as the leader of our war of liberation, have been sanctioned by the Canadian themselves. If the Canadian is telling you that they have banned you from coming to Canada, that should tell you, it should ring a bell in your mind. What is going on? The Canadians cannot stop you from coming to Canada, and you don't even know that there is something wrong. America have sanctioned Dr. Cho Ayaba. That should send a message to all of us Ambazonians, the risk we face in case we are being labeled. Sudan lose Southern Sudan when the president of Sudan was sanctioned by the United States of America and was blamed for the war crimes in Southern Sudan. Whether he was guilty or not is a case of another day. We all know that he was not guilty. That's why he was not arrested in South Africa. So if these things are happening and we don't even know, we just want to pretend that we don't know what is going on. We want to cover up in our own mind and believe in a bubble of our own. We will be making a big mistake, because when there is a problem or when you make a mistake, you can actually analyze it and you correct it. But if we go down this stupid way that we have always been, that when somebody point out an error, instead of the other side to admit that there is an error or even say that they have different opinion, they come out to start lie about you. Oh, you don't chop money for La Republic. Oh, you will be corrupt man. Oh, now because you will want power. Oh, now because you want everything except the things you are saying. That would never help us in anything. Right now, this is what is happening in the international community. And I will not sit by and watch the things happen the way it is. The Ambazonian side have been seen as the belligerent faction, the belligerent party to this particular negotiation. That is what has come out from the Canadians there, and that is what they are behaving till now. The AGOC and its leader may have lost that reputation if they are seen in this light forever, if they don't understand how to come out of this quagmire. When we were in Canada, it was very clear about how these people perceive our struggle and the role me, Capo Daniel, have played to shape the image of Ambazonia abroad. My fight against kidnapping for ransom, this public statement I have made on human rights violations that have amounted up to serious human rights violation, especially in the attack of Kondo Titi and the Kumba attack in the Kumba school. Those were critical moments that I have helped and avert certain conclusion by the international community. I have been the primary person who have rescued this our struggle. The educational policy of Ambazonia, which I push, me, Capo Daniel, I personally push within the governing council and the entire liberation struggle. If that policy was not accepted, this struggle could have finished, which was resisted at all quarter. At one point, when I was telling our people that we need to allow community school and all private schools and all schools except Cameroon government school to open as Ambazonian community school, people were accusing me that I was working for La Republique. But that policy itself saved the liberation movement. And thank God it was adopted in Toronto by all Ambazonian defense groups. Nobody need to pay salary for anybody for ground zero. No one group do not have sovereignty over our territory that will have exclusive power to represent us. Remember that the most important thing is the Ambazonian liberation war. And the various groups and the various actors serve that liberation war. I can assure you that the command and control is not because people are under a group or somebody says ADF. That means that you have his command and control. No. Command and control is based on the trust that you are representing the best interests of those forces. You provide the material is very important as well. But know that ADF forces themselves have refused to hoist ADF flag. Even in Bamenda, that is just to tell you people who are so obsessed with groups to know the limit of any group or any individual in Ambazonia. Nobody is above reproach. And my brother, the musician who wrote from the AGOC, said that if that is the case now, Capo Daniel, it means that you should not talk again about the AGOC. No. If any group is talking about Ambazonia, it means you are talking about everybody, and everybody have the rights to talk about you. The idea that every group, you just go and sit in your corner and be doing your thing, when the things you do have consequence on everybody. It does not work that way. I will continue to engage with all the soldiers to the maximum influence that I have. And now I believe I am the most influential on them, on decisions they take, procedure they take, because I have their 100% trust. And our people as well. I've developed the biggest network in Ambazonia within our community to sustain our resistance against Cameroon. And I have taken up the primary responsibility as the leader of Ambazonian Liberation War. Recognize it sooner or later. The international community recognizes the role I, Capo Daniel, on your behalf is playing for our struggle. The commitment I've made for our people to stand and speak for them and articulate what is of their best interests. The international community recognizes, because they have researchers on the ground who gives them feedback about who is doing what. I'm not who I am because I was made I was put in an organization. For the most part, the organization is what they are because of the people that come in there. People come in organizations with things. Of course, it also creates a platform where you can also be strengthened. It's both way, iron sharpen iron. But make no mistake, the Ambazonian Liberation War is the biggest formation of our struggle, not any group. Every group only plays within that Ambazonian Liberation War. So whether you are the leader of this liberation war does not depend on an institution that have put you there. It depends on the influence you have on the resistance on the ground, on the resistance and conduct of the forces, and also on your robust representation diplomatically on behalf of Ambazonia. So be very sure that I speak for the best interest of Ambazonia, and you can have scientific proof of that when you look in terms of how people listen to us on YouTube, which is something that is on, nobody can manipulate viewership in YouTube. Currently, I am the most listened commander of Ambazonia on YouTube, which can present to you a statistic that reflects ground zero. 85% of which people who listen to me are on ground zero from that channel alone, which is out of the channel of what we share on WhatsApp. So like it or not, love it or not love it, or argue it or not argue it, I am the currently voice of your liberation war, and I will continue to speak for you in that capacity. The organizations we make or the organizations we bring people to rally around is just to help us to be effective in speaking for the Ambazonian Liberation War. So make no doubt that we have had a big setback. If we are unable to recognize the mistakes we made, or we are incompetent or blinded to recognize the mistake we have made, I'm not coming to scapegoat Dr. Chuayaba, no. Because he's a patriot. He has done his best according to his ability. He has just simply failed to recognize the mistake he made. In several, he doesn't argue what I say, actually. He haven't argued what I said. He just have the opinion that maybe. But the consequences have clearly shown what I was saying. Cameroon have withdrawn from the commitment. That is a big loss for Ambazonia. One in a lifetime. We were actually told that this is a specific moment in our history. Just a glimpse, we have that opportunity and we should cherish it. We didn't. Because we allowed people who have been in the shadow, whose only fight in the struggle was to fight for that limelight, to come and spoil the job that we do when we are in that limelight. We have become political parties. We have transformed movements into political parties. That is why we made these mistakes. And I don't blame anybody specifically, because if you were in the position of Ayabacho, you could have evolved to what he has evolved to become. That organization could have become so important, because look at how Siseko also had presented the IG and how it confronted the AGOFC and the other nationalist movement on their policy and how they have to present themselves. It has affected them because Siseko was so popular. The ADF at one point actually wanted to instructed their communicators to abandon using the name ADF because it has been battered by eternal rivals. We should understand those dynamics in our struggle and how it has shaped people to react the way they react. I don't question Dr. Cho's Ayaba's love for our country, but he has just made a wrong decision because he too have been transformed by this liberation movement and the way we think into what he is today. So make no mistake about what I say. Make no mistake about my intention. And I believe that we should be capable of reasoning together without going into this insult and lies about people, but to have proper debates, because somebody can be right in his own way but he's wrong, and be able to collaborate across the board. Because every time we have division or we have differences and then we take those differences into enmity, start making up lies about each other, start trying to bring down each other, it does not help us. Because whether you are a liberation leader or not, it does not depend on one person coming to say that you are the liberation leader or you say it by yourself. It's just the reality on the ground that dictates who is the leader of our liberation struggle. People at one time had believed, because Siseko was very popular, the most popular leader we have, you could not, he was unmatched. But was he leading the liberation effort? To the most extent, no, he wasn't. But he was institutionally the head of the IG, and because what he was doing was popular amongst his base and amongst our people, somehow he was perceived as being the leader. But eventually we realized that the person who was leading was the person who was doing the actual fighting and the actual communication with the international community in a language that they understand. That was the person who was leading. It wasn't the person who was the most popular person. I'm not saying that popularity is not important. It is important. It facilitates things. But what important is the actual things that will actually result to what we are fighting for, which is self-determination for our people. God bless you all.